Welcome back to the lab. So that reread, that was something else now, wasn't it? I came to some very interesting conclusions and discoveries. We've got some stuff to talk about. That took longer than I thought it was going to, and I knew this was going to happen. Remember my introduction, I did tell you guys I've never edited my own project that was this size. All of my own stuff I've ever edited before has always been short form stories. The longer stuff I've edited has always been for other people, and so it's more like a beta read kind of situation. Hardcore editing my own stuff, it's never been this size. I've never done this, so I have no idea how much time it takes, and sure enough, the planning stage took more time than I thought. I just finished the reread last night. My brain is still buzzing with it. I made some great progress as far as notes go. I have a lot of like ideas, and I like where I ended it. I feel like that's a good solid ending, but I need to build to it better. I feel like a lot of the beginning scenes, beginning intros of characters were like the weaker variation of that character, and I found their voice stronger by the end. I need to pull that throughout the entire work. Wants and needs of the character. I'll link my video of character want versus need up above. Yeah, that's serious. I need to make sure that things are defined very clearly when characters are introduced. That doesn't mean I tell the audience. I still need to show, not tell. But there are ways to make it very clear. And I need to make sure that's clear, because that then means that when the character wraps things up at the end, there's a clear difference in how they have changed as a character. Because I have some questions. I'll link my blog down below. On that blog post is a bunch of questions you could ask yourself before you go into the next phase. Sorry I'm going so fast, but like my brain is just racing really quick. One of those questions was like, does your character change by the end of the project? That's what I'm talking about. They do, but I feel like it's not as clear as it could be if that beginning wasn't... The beginning needs to be fixed. If the beginning is more clear into who this character is, their wants, their needs, if that's more defined, then the end is going to be more defined as well. So I feel like it'll be a stronger end if I do that. So that's a priority for me. That beginning part. Does your project's theme come out clearly? Yes. The beginning is a little too vague though, so you know. If your characters were placed in a different world, would they be interesting? This is the thing I did not see coming. I'm cutting some characters. Some characters actually ended up junked halfway through my story, and I didn't realize I was leaving them out. To me, that cues that they might not be very important. So some of them are going to entirely be eradicated. Other ones, there are two characters that I'm going to fuse into one because they serve the same purpose. They're very similar in character type, and I really don't need two of them. I know that seems really harsh, but they're not as fleshed out as they could be, and I'd rather do the cutting and shearing now before I get attached to any of these guys than to get attached and then have a harder time letting go when they don't really do anything in the story. And one character is going to end up introduced far sooner in the book than they currently are. So that needs to alter. Other than that, though, I think that's the biggest like structure issue, is introducing that character sooner. Most of the general structure of the story, the outline, is genuinely okay. Like, I write in a chronological order, so that's usually fine. It's really just a matter of when characters introduced. One of them does need to be introduced sooner, which is going to slightly change that portion of the timeline a little bit. Nothing too major, thank God. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be structure-wise. It's more along the lines of making sure characters are defined pretty clearly, making sure their personalities come out in a crisp manner and not too vague. Stakes, what does your main character lose? They lose the idea of being a hero, the ability of saving somebody. They have to come to the realization that a lot of people, their responsibility is kind of save themselves in a way when it comes to like emotional and mental trauma. Like, you can assist, you can be a support, but you can't do it for them. That's a mental fight. Only that individual can fight. They may also, there are some hard consequences in the real world too, such as like losing citizenship, losing rights, becoming a known criminal, that kind of thing. I'm trying to brainstorm how far I want to take that particular angle, so we'll see. But yes, if you want to know a little bit more about like my story, when I'm doing my project, I actually just did a live stream with Haley Wrights, and I'll go ahead and link the replay up above. It was really, really fun and really great. and we discussed all kinds of project elements, including like how we're going to change things going forward, etc. So if you want expansion on this kind of stuff, check out that video. Yeah, I learned a lot. The reread taught me so much, and I'm really happy I took the time to do a reread without doing any edits whatsoever. I feel like that was kind of a magic sauce that I've never really had before because I've never had a project this big. But I think that really helped a lot. I did do character sheets as well, before I forget, because I'm going to forget. Because I mentioned I did the wants and needs versus so the main character, Alex. I did do them for a lot of other characters that I feel like they just weren't defined enough. I actually got this on like Amazon or something. It's like a lot of paper, but they got the dots. Not that it matters. My circles still look god-awful, but I've got quite a few. It's really interesting when I did Jabbers. He's the villain character. That was interesting. I feel like I have a better grasp of some of these characters now because I had a basic idea of their wants and needs in my head, but there's a difference between having a vague idea and actually writing it down and having to explain it. That being said, now the real work begins. I started creating the Scrivener project last night because, again, I just finished the reread. Started creating the Scrivener. I backed up everything. Don't worry. I already backed everything up. Back up your stuff. What I think I will do is I think I will slowly migrate stuff into Scrivener scene by scene, chapter by chapter. And I'll do that. And while I'm doing that, I'll check to make sure everything's in the timeline, everything's broken up properly, that kind of thing. Because right now, the idea of getting it all in Scrivener all at once is overwhelming. Also, I feel like if I do that, it'll be harder to cut scenes versus if I'm doing it scene by scene. I really think, is this worth migrating over? Does this scene do what it's supposed to do? Is it worth the migration? If it is, cool, we do it, we start editing it, you know, golden. If it's not, I can junk it then and there. So I'm actually going to fuse the Scrivener setup and timeline setup with the editing. I'm a little nervous about that because editing in and of itself is going to take a ton of time, but I think this will kind of kill multiple birds with one stone, in theory, because I would be doing this anyway, and so it'd just be repeating steps. So I think if I do it scene by scene, I'm already doing that editing process anyway. I think the hardest part for me in this phase, and this is why this phase actually is the most concerning for me personally, I don't know how much time this is going to take. So when it comes to figuring out breakdowns, I honestly don't know how to do this. Truly, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to break. I think I'm just going to, because it's so overwhelming, I think I'm just going to break it as, like I said, I'm just doing transferring scene by scene. So I'm going to do chapter 1, scene 1. I'm just transferring that. I'll edit that. When it gets to a spot where I'm happy with it, I'll record a recording of it, of me reading out loud. And I think I'll just slowly do that. So I think when I'm planning out how I'm going to break out my work over the next couple weeks, I think I'll break it that way by scene. I feel like this is something a lot of writers struggle with, trying to figure out how much time it takes to get through these steps. I'm also going to, in phase 1, I didn't really need it because it was just rereading and making notes, but now that I'm actually going to start making edits, I'm actually going to start doing logs in here, where I'm going to log the session, the editing session. So I'm actually going to start utilizing my journal a little bit more at this point because we're going to start the editing. I hope you guys had a really good phase 1. I did. It was very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. I feel like I got a lot done. I'm trying to look at the 2 cups I still have full instead of the 3 that are spilt on the floor because I feel like I'm still kind of stuck in that mind of, but you didn't do the timeline. You didn't do the timeline. Yeah, I didn't do the timeline because I literally can't right now because I'm going to have to do it again anyway for Scrivener. I might as well do both at the same time. But I feel like, because I didn't complete that one task, I feel like I failed somehow. I didn't. I got a lot done. I got the reread done with all the notes, which was the most important thing I had to get done. I also did the character sheets, which was the next important thing because my stories are character reliant. They rely on the characters. Those were the two things, the most important things I had to get done, and those are the things that got done. Did I do a fancy timeline? No. Did I do a bunch of cards showcasing my... No, I didn't do same cards. I probably should, but I have not. Did I finish setting up the Scrivener file? No, I did not finish. It just started it because, again, I'm going to be making it as I go. So that's what really changed, and that's what's changing for this next phase. I didn't initially plan to be doing Scrivener setup as I go, but I think that's the best way for me to do it. Organically growing that Scrivener as needed. Just like my bullet journal, I only make the pages I use. If I'm not going to use it, I don't make it. And I think that'll be a lot more effective than me trying to make too much right now and not using it all. I hope you had a lovely phase 1, and thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Subscribing, I show in your feed. Liking and commenting makes sure I show in your algorithm more often. So it's really, really useful. It really helps my stuff show up for you. So please do that if you're interested in more. And please let me know just what you guys are working on in your comments. What was phase 1 like for you? Did you finish your reread? Are you distressed? Are you excited? Where are we at? I'm excited, but I'm worried. Very happy to be moving on. At the same time, I'm terrified about the unknowns of moving on. I have no idea how this rewrite is going to go. I'm going in blind. Well, not completely blind. I have notes. Thank God I have notes. If I did not have notes, I'm not sure I would be able to survive this next process. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And from the labs, we hope your time with us has been productive.